Well, it's time for the hot match of the week. Welcome back to ESL Pro League. We're gonna have the two best teams in the North American division. It's the 12-1 or 11-1 team Liquid taking. Actually, excuse me. I think it's the 12-1 team Liquid taking on 11-1 NRG. I'll get that right eventually. Yeah, hot match of the week. It's gonna be incredible. Right now, we've got Vendetta over at the Baja Blast Zone to preview it for us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. And that's right, we do have the hot match of the week coming up. It's going to be NRG and Team Liquid. And as you can see at the monitor behind me, we have the lineups respectively. And specifically, the ones you want to keep an eye out for is NAF and Twist on the side of Liquid. Been performing exceptionally well for the entirety of the season so far. But we're going to take a little bit closer look at someone on NRG. Obviously, we've seen Ethan play extremely well. But the one that I want to highlight for this one is Zerk, the Bulgarian youngster, really coming into NA and just taking everyone by storm in so many ways. And he's been doing it in style. Obviously, the opera of the team. And, well, he's not only been delivering highlight moments, he's also been, you know, driving energy to wins. And that's why they find themselves at the top two positioning right now. As you can see, ADR sitting at 76.8, not 7.3% right there. Headshot ratio is going to be a bit lower due to his opping. But the most important thing is the KD ratio, and as you can tell, that's up there amongst the very, very best, regardless of region. You know, that accounts for both EU and NA, so he's doing a really good job for himself. And in addition to that, you've got the first kill percentage. He's not necessarily just a passive opper, just sitting back and waiting for people to come to him. He's going to take charge as well. And the final stat was the clutch kills, which we've seen plenty of, and a lot of them on Mirage, just like this versus Rogue, a 1v3 situation. He's been doing this for the entirety of the season, just showcasing why he's been such an impactful player and why he's a vital part to this to this NRG success. And it's actually so good that we're going to see it twice. And he's not just one of the guys who throws out random flicks and just hopes everything goes by. You can see he's actually measured in the way he approaches things, taking a couple of steps back, faking out bomb plants to actually lure out the opponents and get the upper hand. So Zerk, definitely going to be a vital part for NRG versus Liquid, especially because Liquid are a team that doesn't have a dedicated opera anymore now with the departure of JDM. And that's what we've seen in the past, that when Zerk is the best sniper on the field, he wreaks havoc. So he's definitely going to be one of the biggest keys to success for NRG. And with that, we're going to take you right back into the final segment, I guess, for to start at the hot match of the weekend. Guys, what do you think about this matchup to come?
I think your walking right there is absolutely perfect. And I
actually didn't know that was coming.
I've walked on this. I've put on special boots just for the occasion. These boots were made for walking. And I think that's just what they did.
You could have picked better.
I could have picked better boots. Well, now you're hating on Jason's.
Listen, boys, no one can see the shoes you're talking about, so let's just get right into the pregame. Yes, NRG taking on Team Liquid. It's going to be a good one. I think this has been probably NRG for me is like the most exciting team we have in North America at the moment, just because this rise from them has been crazy. I've been preaching it for a while now that North America has a lot of really talented young players. You'll obviously know this from playing in the region. All that's lacking is the kind of leadership to mold them in the right direction, and obviously the experience. But this NRG team, the young guys have stepped up in a big way.
It's slowly but surely coming.
Yeah,
a lot of more good influence is coming inside the region. You know, bringing on European players may not always be the best thing for American teams, but it always gives you like a different perspective on things. When I was brought into Team Liquid, I had some, you know, some tendency and some stuff that I could bring in from the European scene that they like seem to be completely unaware of what's happening over there. That being like practice regiments and all sorts of other stuff, you know, and the more people you bring in, the more expertise you bring in. You see it like with big companies in the real life as well. Well, the more know-how you get to get things working. That's what we see with the NA region. It's been a proven fact that they were lacking behind on a lot of different areas, but I would say to this point, 2018, Counter-Strike being complete champions, you know, you can't really see the difference between NA and Europe anymore in that sense. Obviously, we do have the FaZe, we do have the Astralis, who are still the best teams out there in the world, but it's slowly but surely, you know, the gap is not as big as it is anymore, and I think it's to the point, you know, where they've brought in so much talent and so much know-how that now finally the young prospects that you were talking about, Ethan, the Nathan, the Breeze, all those kind of big talents out there are able to produce it themselves now and actually take that step up to the level of the Europeans as well.
Ethan getting a start in CLG as well and had a rough start, but he's kind of picked up the pieces since he's departed that team. We can actually bring up the past games that that NRG has played in. We'll see exactly what they're looking at the moment. A lot of very strong wins. Obviously, the 2-0 versus SK has the asterisks of the ping. SK was playing from Germany, but outside of that, I mean, a lot of these teams are just teams you'd expect them to beat. But if you go towards the whole month that they've had across, you know, all the different qualifiers, across all the different leagues, this is a team I think they've only lost like just a handful of times in the past month. It's been an incredible one. And Halvor, I mean, how does something like this just come out of nowhere?
Well, I guess that's the thing. It hasn't necessarily come out of nowhere either. Again, if I want to draw a parallel from EU, I want to, NRG are like the space soldiers of NA in that sense. The core of the lineup has been together for quite some time. They've just been lacking a couple of pieces here and there. Ethan really seems to be the one that kind of just set them into motion, that really took them over that that plateau they've been kind of hitting for a while. And I also think it's a case of sticking together and just believing in or finding your identity within a team is going to do wonders for you. And I think Daps has done a remarkable job in that sense, which he does not get enough credit for. Oftentimes, you're going to focus on the fact that he's not necessarily the strongest fragger, which is fair. That is a criticism that he has to live with.
He's very similar to FNS in some ways, isn't he? And exactly. He's another one of those leaders where when you watch also what he did with Optic and their rise towards the end of 2016, that would have been?
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah. That was where Daps kind of had that team and took them to a certain point when they realized they couldn't get past it, removing him. Like Daps did a lot of the heavy lifting for that team to get him to a good spot, and then they kind of make the change to help them get over the hump of winning championships. But this is a leader who does a very good job of solidifying teams for the future.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing because he's able to get the best out of young players as well, and that's what we see. We see Ethan, as you said, he had a rough start in CLG, eventually got into it. That helps having a guy like FNS in the team. Same thing goes into NRG, right? Now he has had another season of experience. It's going to get eased into it a little bit easier. But for the rest of the guys, Cirque just hit the ground running really the second he came into this lineup. Having that kind of, leader figure on your side just is a dream come true for any talent.
Bulgarian bulldozer, I think, is what you were looking for.
Yeah, Bulgarian bulldozer, for sure.
We're going to move on to Team Liquid because this team obviously has impressed a lot of people. We don't need to say too much about their past because they've been performing very, very well. I guess, again, we have to be the broken record talking about the roster changes just a little bit initially. Taco joining the ESEA roster due to a 48-hour, roster lock it would be when you hop on. He can't play until tomorrow. We're still going to have Steel. That's the person likely and the rumor of who's going to be replaced on this team. But still, I mean, Pimp, you played on this squad. You played with a lot of these players. Guys like Elige, guys like Twist now they've buddied up. Nitro as well, hitting a new level that he wasn't playing at when you were on the team. There's a lot of talent on this squad as well. I mean, we talk about the young players. These are guys who have been professionals for a number of years, but they're still extremely young as well.
They're still extremely young as well. And that's why you gotta praise the coach Zeus, because he's the guy who was brought into Liquid when I was there to make the mess work. Because we were a mess back then when I was playing with them. You talked about it. Nitro not playing up to the level that we once saw him. Elise was beasting, but that was it. The rest of us didn't really perform. And Zeus was brought in to find like a red line within the Team Liquid camp. We wanted to have a certain playstyle. We wanted to have an identity first of all, and that was what he was brought in for to create. Being a very great guy and being a very humble guy, but also being a guy that respects his players a lot and expect a lot from the players as well in terms of hard work. So them being young, but them also being pushed, very hard by both the organization and Zeus now to deliver results after results has definitely helped them out a great deal.
We could bring up, we have Team Liquid's past matches as well, but while you kind of look at that, Pimp, I want to ask you another question because I know from speaking to you in a talk show with Thorin, you and Zeus actually bumped heads a little bit on how to play the game, if I remember correctly. No?
Yeah, a little bit. It was more like Peacemaker.
Okay. Well,
a different Brazilian.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, we'll move along then. But yeah, Zeus is got to be one of the only coaches we have in the scene that can demand that much respect, and obviously probably the most successful coach I'd say we have in.
Yeah, but I can I can attest to that because Zeus won my respect, and Peacemaker didn't, and that winning my respect is I can talk for that myself. It's a tough job to do. Moses, you haven't done it yet. However, you're about to do it.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there, but winning my respect requires a lot, and that's just it tells of how much Zeus is of a character. Been a coach for SK Gaming as well when they won the 2 majors in a row. He tried it all, and he's here to create this work. This is his project. Yeah. He left SK back in the days because he wanted to be on his own. He wanted to show that I can win with SK because they're the best players in the world, but I can also take a Team Liquid who is at the state he joined was I think we were a top 15 team in the world. Now he brought them all the way up to a top 4 spot, and they're going for the top 1, and I do believe there's potential in the future for it. You told them they're young, all the players. Elise is still young, Natfly is still a fairly young player in that sense, and Twist is young as well, so there's so much potential in this lineup.
It's wild, man. What do you think of the conversation? What do you guys think of the conversation around Naf and that kind of start he had, when he was in Renegades and then going over to Team Liquid, the level he was playing at, people were ready to call him one of the best in the world. Yeah. Is that fair assessment of, or at least how he played in that snapshot of time?
I think even the way he's playing right now, you have to consider him one of the best in the world. So maybe not a top 5 as of right now, but definitely during his absolute highs in Renegades and start of Liquid as well, top 5 player in the world, which is kind of crazy to think about because if you go way, way back when Liquid first came into CS, right? Yep. You had a lineup with Fugly, Naf, and those guys, and if you looked at the lineup, you're thinking like those two first to go, never going to see them again. because rarely people have that kind of a surge in their career that late into it, like Nafly did, and it's pretty incredible to see that he's been able to maintain it for so long as well. What kind of was the changing trigger for him in that sense? No idea. But he's found something consistent about the way he plays the game that's pretty remarkable. Obviously, a ton of work and actual practice goes into it, but I definitely did not see this coming. Naf kind of just went from being the fourth guy you mentioned in a lineup when you talk about, you know, profiles and whatnot, to just being the solidified star of any team he went into.
Sort of like a reverse AC, you don't see that often, but AC went from being like a top player, maybe a top 10 player in the entire world, to be just, to be a guy, who you consider, he's the next guy who's getting, first to cut. So
well, you'd think so, but he's dodged all the bullets so far somehow. We're going to get into game very, very shortly here. They're about to get started, so let's do some prediction. This first map is going to be on Train between Team Liquid and NRG. Who we taking? We taking the upstarts? We taking the old guard? I guess old-ish guard.
I think NRG is going to win this one based on the fact that Liquid is a little bit in a shambles of roster moves. If Taco joining the team is truthfully, and if that rumor is going to happen, then there's going to be a little bit less motivating steel playing on that team. So NRG for this one.
Quickly, Halver, because you're going to be hopping in and casting, so save the voice.
Yeah, I'm going with NRG as well. My boy Cirque's going to tear some heads off.
Holy hell. All right, I'll go for Team Liquid. I'll get on this. You guys are mental.
Go with the NA boys.
Yeah, I'm going with Team Liquid. Yeah, either way, it's going to be awesome. We're going to head into game. Harry's over here waiting for you, his new best friend.
Yeah. I'll make my way.
Take it away, boys. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, cheers for that, Jason. Last game of the night, and of course it's Liquid versus NRG, the hot match of the week. And I mean, I've been very much looking forward to this one. Two of my favorite teams over in NA right now are going to be going head to head. Of course, Liquid, they've been looking pretty good. They've kept a consistent roster, although that's probably about to change with Taco coming in. And for NRG, they've been on the rise. I think they lost their first game in ECS recently. They've lost, I think, one game so far in Pro League as well. They're top of the board in all the online leagues they're a part of, so they are looking utterly fantastic. And I cannot wait to see how they fare now versus Liquid. First map going to be Train, NRG over on this T side. Liquid on that CT side, as you would expect. And two flashes. Molotov up on Daps. They're going to go for this B-bomb site play, keeping Daps behind with the molly for the afterpart, but a nice opener found by Steel, instantly returned by Cirque. And just like that, this B-bomb site has come crumbling down around Team Liquid. Although Cirque gets caught out in the open, tries to go aggressive. No smokes, no anything down to keep him covered in doing so. That is the man advantage picked up for Liquid. That Molotov's already gone. Ethan inside of the site trying to hold them back, and he's going to double down, wants to try and find a third. Might just get away with it. Lige falls at the last hurdle. Breezy going to pick him up, and NRG, they get themselves the pistol round.
Yeah, no, impressively done there as well. Just playing from a deficit pretty much from the get-go. To manage to hold off to that, even not getting forward positions, which is something that we talk about so often, being more or less crucial to actually hold off any sort of retakes from the CT side. So very well done from NRG right there. Ethan, one of the players we talked a little bit about to start things off, getting some pretty crisp headshots. He had a pretty good showing there earlier today as well, and the different league matches that NRG had. But yeah, as you mentioned, NRG have been a surprising breath of fresh air in all kinds of positive ways, really, for the season of Pro League. Really fun to watch. And again, in similar vein as what we talked about with NAF, how kind of a surprise of an uprise that was. It's been a similar story for NRG and a lot of these players, seeing how good they've gotten in a rather short amount of time, just all things considered. Right now, though, things kind of just going according to plan. Anti-ecos, NRG doing their due diligence, throwing all the nades and Molotovs needed. It's going to lead to a second round on the board.
Yeah, NRG going to go 2-0 early on. And for Liquid, they've gone ahead and saved the scout on Nitro. Elige with his Deacon arm. We're going to take that into the next round.
Scout can still provide a bit of a nuisance for NRG, even in this upcoming round. Just a couple of tags obviously makes you so much more susceptible to going down into pistols, regardless if it's ZZ in your face or USP. NRG don't want to necessarily fall to the trap of playing too slowly in this kind of a scenario. A lot of MAC-10s up though, so they definitely want to try to make as much bank as possible. And you would imagine that they actually move towards the inner bomb side as well with MAC-10s, considering the range. And for Liquid side, a bit of a stack here on the yard area. There you go. First tag that we spoke of. They might actually be tempted to swap around the AK. Breeze is going to pick up the rifle instead. So NRG just taking their time here. No utility on this side of Liquid, so they can't necessarily rely on any sort of pop flashes, anything of that matter. It's just going to be straight up firepower. NRG's seemingly suspecting some sort of aggression to come out from this Liquid side. But Liquid have been fairly static, honestly, even with the USP. Twist is going to go for a little bit of a peek as nades go down towards Ivy, and that's going to be the end of him. So opening frag goes the way of the T side. Daps is actually going to move quite far forward on this. He doesn't have anyone near him, so there is a potential for Liquid to actually pounce on something. Instead, it's going to be Elige trying to find some information in T main, and Breeze waiting for him. Right now, moving their ways on into Yarn. Breeze is going to find a second one onto Nitro as well. Not going to be able to find Nap, but position is given up, and he's the last one remaining, so should be pretty easy job for NRG to clean up. And Daps actually picking up 3 kills in total with that MAC-10, so a lot of money made.
The insane thing is, right, when you look at this, and you know, I mean, you'll recall there was the discussion for the longest time, like who's the best team in NA, Liquid or Cloud9? And that came after Cloud9's major victory, right? And a lot of people kind of sided more with Liquid. But recently, every time NRG have met Liquid, NRG have won it out. I mean, we recently saw them win the IEM Sydney qualifiers, rather. That they've beat them in ECS, I think, already. I think that was a 2-0 there as well. And, of course, then they beat them in the final, the iBuyPower Invitational as well that went on. So and every time these guys have met as of late, it's been a victory for NRG. Liquid are coming into this as the underdogs in that respect.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Like, I saw players, you know, North American players kind of joke about it. I think it was FNS after playing versus NRG. Managed to grab one map off of them. It's like, it's nice to see that gods can bleed. It's gotten to that point because NRG have just been so dominant in their region. Obviously, it is online play, and if we think about the previous NRG teams, they've managed to qualify for Pro League in previous seasons, but there's been a distinct level of difference or difference in level in terms of what they perform in an online stage and what they do in the offline ones.
That's true, but I do feel like that something's changed with this NRG roster. It feels like the consistency of which they've been operating has been unreal. Yeah,
they just seem more well-rounded, and I think that, I mean, when that happens, you also get more consistent results because NRG have gone from being a team that can potentially snag maps off of the, let's say top 4 suspects, in the NA region to actually just being able to win 2-0s.
Well, let's see if they can get that done now. Twist is actually giving them a run for their money, but he's finally to get dealt with. The trade comes in from Fugly, man advantage up in favor of NRG. Bomb plant looks to come through. And now for Naf and Steel, the pressure is on in this retake. Breezy.
I spotted the arm of Naf as well. Naf's still going to find Ethan, though. So there's a chance here. Still going to have to weed up Breeze. Breeze is actually going to go aggressive. This is probably not going to be expected on the side of Liquid. And again, see Fugly in a really solid after plant position as well.
Yeah, they have a crossfire here. Smoke goes down on the bomb. Steel going to look to try and stick it. Now Fugly comes out, finds him on the bomb, and this is where Breezy slips the knife in the back of Naf, just like that. NRG going to go 4-0 up. And Liquid, well, their economic woes are just beginning.
It's the start of something painful. And Daps, talked about him in the pregame, not necessarily being known as the hard hitter on the side of NRG, which, to be fair, is a pretty tough thing to do when you consider the talents they have on that squad, and Ethan, Breezy, and Zerk. But he's been starting off this game really well, finding 2 opening frags there for NRG with the MAC-10 even. Just really making the most out of it. That leaves them with scouts and ZZs on the side of Liquid. They're going to do pretty decent work of it so far already. Naf and Elige finding 2 frags, 3 at that. And well, ZZs, what a pistol.
What a pistol indeed. What a round from Elige. I mean,
I can't wait for that pistol to just burn in hell.
Okay,
honestly,
you could, but still, regardless of how bad this is, that was nice from Elige just because his ability to stay alive that long at E-Box. I mean, admittedly, the overpowered CZ would have helped, but to dodge that many incoming players, to isolate that many engagements when you're being taken from 2 different angles at once, it was well played by him.
Absolutely,
and it bought plenty of time for those rotations to come through because you noticed there was a man in the back, even if they'd lost the players on the site, you had a quick flank coming in through Pop Dog. So. Good round there from Liquid to find their first.
Much needed round as well. You talked about how their economic woes were just about to begin, and they bring it right back. As for now, no. Economy's definitely not secured by any means. As you can tell, already starting to chip into how much utility they can have early on in the round. And on the side of NRG, much healthier. Cheeky little spam attempt from Fugly there. NRG's very passive in how they approach this. Looks like they want to set up for an inner take here. You can see Cirque being boosted up to see anyone playing from the far back of the site. That's not going to be the case. So 2 players on the inner bomb site though, and as the rotation comes in from NAF here, might be actually be spotted out if he decides to jump on top of the trains. For now though, look at Liquid. Twists have moved all the way up Ivy, and this is going to be a big tell as to what's going on from the side of NRG. You can already see a 3rd man rotating in on the side of Liquid, and this is going to be incredibly tough to deal with for NRG, but that's a way to start things off. Breeze finds Steel immediately. All trades go back and forth. Already though, 2v2 situation. Still that lurk from Twists. Well, it's been spotted out now. Fugly just kind of needs to stay alive here to allow for Daps to get into a better position, but Lee's just going to find him as well. Fugly does return the favor though, but it's not able to get out of the dodge before Twist manages to close the gap. So even with Liquid pretty much having all the information they need in the world to deal with that, NRG do make it a very costly affair. And getting the bomb plant down again, that does mean that they could potentially decide to buy into this. We have a couple of players sitting at around 5k. Cirque's the only one who can't necessarily buy AK and armor. And well, Liquid do have some money, but they have to reinvest pretty much everything. We do see the investment coming in from NRG as well.
Yeah, it's not that bad a buy. They've got rifles across the board, decent utility to accompany it.
Yeah.
When you look at how close they made that previous round, they know that they have Liquid's economy sort of right where they want it. They have 3 players who could scavenge something into the next round, but it won't be ideal. This flash is perfect for Allow Steel to find something. He gets 1 and a 2nd and a 3rd. Steel does it all. 3 massive kills over there towards B, and just like that, it's all onto Fugly. NRG, they've had their hopes and dreams slashed away from them by 1 man.
Within 15 seconds. That was rather quick. So any hopes of resetting Liquid here, it's gone down the drain. Steel shoulder peeking to get any sort of information. They know where Fugly is. Well, he's going to make his presence felt as well. Twist, a bit cheeky there. He's been very aggressive, trying to flank around the NRG members. Not going to pan out this time around, but still a pretty daunting task at the hands of Fugly to be able to close this one out. 4 members still alive. 2 of them are fairly tagged up, but still. You could tell Liquid have taken very aggressive positionings as well. Got Nitro all the way up in T main. Steel pushed all the way around to Ivy. And Nav spots out Fugly as he comes out of pop. Probably won't be expecting Nitro. And the 3rd round on the board for Liquid, and this does mean we're going to see the first eco round coming up from NRG.
This was great. I mean, you see the flash go in, and, you know, kind of think maybe he's probably going to be done there. The trade should come through, but no, he controls the spray perfectly and has a leash there to back him up in case anything does go wrong. So a good round from Liquid and good control across the board there as they shut down that attempted offensive from NRG. Now it's a good old-fashioned deco. Ooh, but the nade stack, that's brutal. Ethan's already been taken out, and he didn't even get to fire a bullet. Nothing more tilted than that. And they're going to go ahead and try some aggression into Ivy. And actually, they found one onto Twist. Fugly's in with a 2nd. Alicia able to trade. But still, they've gained some leeway. They've started to slip on into the back. And now it's been chipped down low as well in the process. Suddenly, Steel, the man of the hour from the previous round, has to try and be that and more once again. Him and Elige managed to get this round back under control. Liquid going to be onto a 4th, but it's costly.
Yeah, it definitely is. I was about to say, you know, Twist, as he spots out the 2nd player from NRG crossing over in Ivy there, wanted to put down the smoke, and it seemed like he wanted to back off. I was, you know, about to commend him for playing it rather safe, and before you knew it, he was back into it, trying to repick, and that ends his life. But NRG, they do manage to cope with it, at least with the 4K, to get him going. And he's been a pretty big catalyst for Liquid to start things off. And again, aggression coming in on the inner bomb side. We saw it being very effective the first time around. Now, though, not going to find anything. Instead, they're going to take a significant amount of damage. It's Nitro going down to 30 HP. Well, it seems like NRG, they want to continue on with this aggression. Fugly already out on higher. He's going to find Nitro. He's already tagged up, but Elige quick with the rotation. Actually, a pretty significant over-rotation here from Team Liquid. Everyone on their side has rotated in, but there's nobody left on the side of NRG to be found there. It remains to be seen if NRG can actually cut off any sort of rotation points here, and they do. Twist gets caught out in back alley. NRG, though, still need to get the bomb plant down. Breeze, though, has backlines shut off. This bomb's got to go down. Still don't have control over Pop, but still some time before Steel's going to be able to get down there. Now, this is pretty favorable for NRG here. Still a lot of utility on the side of Liquid, but not much else. 2v2. No smokes on the side of Liquid, which is a bit of an issue, considering that they do have to defuse the bomb. There you go. Cirque peeks out at the right time, and Breeze is going to capitalize by finding Naf as he's distracted, looking towards Cirque. And, oh, NRG, they bring it back. Massive over-rotation from Liquid there. That's a bit of a mistake. Clear overreaction to the two players putting on aggression towards the inner bomb site, especially seeing how they only find one frag. Elise rotated so quickly towards inner and actually managed to find a kill that should have kind of stemmed any sort of worry Liquid had of an inner push. I think it's fine in that situation to just give up a bomb plant because you're not going to be in a position to actually deny anything from NRG. Nonetheless, NRG do regain the lead.
Yeah, they've retaken it, and curious to see what they do in this round, knowing that Liquid didn't have too much money to reinvest with. It's forced buy, and they've put everything they've got into this round. Naf has the AWP out, and well, Nitro's already gone aggressive over here towards main. I think Swoke there is going to give that fact away. That's why you have Cirque hanging around behind, keeping an eye on this fact.
See how daring Nitro decides to be. If he's just going to hold around that corner. Makes sense considering he's got an MP9. Just want to keep it as close quarters as possible. NRG, though. I mean, they have been shook already by some aggression coming out from Team Liquid, so that's probably why we're seeing such a passive hold. But they did run into a bit of an issue, giving up too much map control when they played it slow last time around, which allowed for Twist to have the massive flank from Ivy that, again, gave Liquid the opportunity to put 3 men on the inner bomb site before the execute even happened. Let's see. Daps wants to venture in towards main. Hopefully there's a pop flash in store for him. There's not really that much utility left, though. And the flash is just way too late. And nobody's even there to actually get the return flag. Nitro is still kind of stuck there. Does significant damage onto Ethan as well. That's going to set up Elige nicely. Does get tagged and is actually going to get traded out by Fugly, so there are openings here.
Yeah, but the time is so low. They wasted so much time trying to get the bomb across, and now Naf, he holds his own. I don't know if he's able to deny it. Yeah, they just managed to deny that bomb plant and Liquid onto a 5th. That is going to be devastating if you're NRG. And I mean, it was such a good job. It was Nitro was aggressive with the MP9, and it was him who bought so much time and just held back that offensive from NRG, and it comes back to punish them. Had he gone down even a second earlier, they could have got the bomb plant there, and then it could be a very different outcome.
Yeah, it seems like they were just a bit off in how they wanted to execute that. The idea is correct. Obviously, you can see that they had set up a flash. Daps goes a little bit early, not able to adjust his aim as he swings out, and that allows for Nitro to get the first frag. But I think even if that part of the take for map control is bungled by NRG, they spend way too much time actually getting the return frag onto Nitro. He had opportunities to potentially back away, then fiddle about actually changing weapons, considering reloading with the MP9 and all that kind of stuff. And that, again, sets up for Elige to just fully focus on whatever comes out of team eventually. So maybe in need of a little bit of an energy boost on the side of NRG, no pun intended, but
I was gonna say that was really good if you meant that. That was a nice little discreet pun, however.
Yeah, no, I do throw those in every now and again. But NRG kind of need to pick up their pace in these weapon rounds. They have been punished by it twice now. First with Twist, with that long flank, and now Nitro with the aggressive play.
Well, Cirque has that one AK they carried forward from the previous round.
Might be all they need. Daps just hanging out by Ivy, trying to maintain some focus towards the outer area. But you can see Liquid already playing with 2 players towards that inner bomb site.
Make their way in. Good shot from Naf to open up. Sends Ethan to the grave, and Steel still alive here. Looking to try and steal this round away. That's one and a second. Cirque falls. Daps is very, very far away. You kind of feel bad for him here. 1v5. He's
with the Glock.
Yeah, just go wherever. Go take the scenic route. Eli's going to finish him off. They get the bomb down. That was the focus there. They would have loved to have gotten a bit more done with that rifle, you imagine. But a fantastic play from Steel, just hiding inside of the site, catches them unawares.
I think that's the only thing you can, I guess, call NRG out for is the fact that they had the bomb on Zerk. It was only a rifle player, so probably would have been more beneficial to have any of the Glock players actually just commit to planting the bomb, so maybe he can do some work there. But in the end, as you said, main goal of the round was to get the bomb plant down.
Yeah, and, I think something that maybe is holding NRG back a bit as well. Cirque hasn't really had a chance to get onto this AWP yet over on the T side. And he's someone who is phenomenal with the AWP. I mean, we just kind of saw there, he's currently bottom of the board for NRG, not really what we're used to seeing, and that is lovely from Twist.
That was really good. Being able to find both headshots there, even though he gets dinked rather early on. A big player deficit for NRG here as well, and they're going to congregate towards that inner bomb site. And already, though, with the man advantage, no reason for Liquid to play with just one player on that inner bomb site. So Liege already posted up with Steel. This is going to be really tough to deal with. Do you have the utility to kind of clear out any sort of close angles on the bomb site as they want to go in, but still really tough task to deal with, and especially when Steel is hitting shots like that. Immediate execution. Not able to find Daps, though, but that's okay because Liege is there to help him out. And, well, all the chaos is ensuing. Nitro comes in from Connector to help him out.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem. The second Twist picks up that big man advantage at the beginning. You saw, freed up not only the rotation into the B bombs, so an extra guy in there, but then they also had Nitro just playing in Connector for the fast rotation. So you have 3 players instantly in that B bomb site, and you're running into a 3-on-3 even situation. And the utility was sort of, unfortunately placed so that it didn't actually flush any of the Liquid players out, meaning the NRG headed into that fight, in even odds. And you never want to take an even fight in CS.
No, you want to make it as unfair as possible. Fugly just kind of drops down pop with the bomb. Cirque plays with the ladder, probably not going to find too much success doing that. And meanwhile, his teammates is dying left and right. Only Breeze left. He's got a deagle, but not too many chances to actually do anything with it. So fairly solid anti-eco coming in from Liquid. They're starting to rack up quite a bit of cash. You can see 3 players above 9K, only Liege and Nitro sitting around 3K, but even then, shouldn't have any issues buying out for the remaining 2 rounds. And as for NRG here, well, we're going to see Cirque getting his opportunity to do something here with the sniper. Hasn't really been able to do a whole lot, as you mentioned. We've seen a couple of leg shots, but that's pretty much all you can write home about. And again, the aggressive play coming from Liquid here. 3rd time, not the charm. And for once, we see NRG getting off to a hot start. Breeze is going to follow that up with the aggression in Ivy. Steel comes running into him, and the Liquid in that kind of scenario just more or less have to hope that Steel finds something. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that play. He just has to hope for the best. But NRG finally being set up in a proper manner that they can deal with aggro on both sides of the map. I'll slow down the tempo again. They still have a ton of utility here, so no reason to run into a potential stack from Team Liquid. Not the most dangerous stack in the world, considering there are only 2 players left, but just want to play it as safe as possible.
Yeah, they're going to be playing this one very safely, as you say, and with good reason. Might be 2 players left, but with both Ethan and Breezy tagged low, that is a collateral. Luckily enough, Fugly's able to walk away from that on 12 HP. If he'd got on both there, I think then we see Liquid go for this. Now, they're looking hesitant.
Yeah.
Twist is on this flank. Maybe if someone overextends, he's able to find someone in the back, then they commit to it. But it's not looking likely. They don't really have the money on Elijah or Nitro. Twist is going to go peeking in, and Fugly's out. He is tagged low, so Twist picks it up. Now, maybe. Now they're looking curious, although he loses his teammate in the form, and that's Breezy's holding close, and NRG are on to a 6th. Now, of course, one of the reasons why this matchup is so exciting is both of these teams currently occupy the top slots, and this is top slots of the board, that is, in the overall standings. It's kind of like a shot for one of them to start to break away from the other and really solidify that 1st place spot.
Yeah, I think, well, I haven't done the math exactly, but I think if either of these teams actually win 2-0, they would more or less be guaranteed a top 6 spot. I think it's like everything that could possibly go wrong would have to go wrong for them to not be able to qualify at that point. So big points on the board here for both teams. And I think both teams are actually undefeated on Train and Mirage. And something has to give in this match.
Yeah, I mean, you know, someone has to win. Either that or we're here all night. And eventually...
We do cross our fingers that we do love some overtimes and bonus rounds, but you'd like to see at least one team coming out ahead eventually. All right, now Liquid doing a fine job of ending the half there. Flawless round. 9-6 is going to be the score line.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've been impressed with Liquid thus far. They seem to be looking quite rejuvenated. You can understand they kind of have a bit of a bloodlust when it comes to NRG.
Yeah.
A team that's been besting them over and over again online, and a team that, you know, if you looked at it a few months ago before its inception, I don't think you would have paid it all that much attention, right? Like a few of these guys were sort of
middle of the pack.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it feels like, you know, since they've banded all these misfits together, they've done very, very well for themselves. I mean, Breezy, he's a big name, along with Ethan, then only the two that look to step up. But Fugly's sort of like the dark horse in that regard. He's one that people often leave out and then can come in with these just absolutely unreal performances. Then there's Cirque, who you wouldn't believe it if I told you he was just unreal. He's not really showing it right now. But yeah, they still have that up their sleeve in this second half. Hopefully we can see him on that that much more. We didn't really get to see it on their T side.
He had his opportunities, but it ended up getting leg shots and then being immediately downed. Hopefully he can get more into it on the CT side. It's definitely going to be needed for NRG if they want to grab a win versus Liquid. As you can see, pretty even performances from the Liquid roster there. I see Elige a little bit further ahead than the rest of them, but overall solid contributions across the board. But yeah, you know, you said, you know, maybe you wouldn't believe it looking at the scoreboard right now, but both Cirque and Ethan are sitting amongst the top 3, I'm pretty sure, in all of Pro League in terms of ratings. They've had a phenomenal start to the season, so wouldn't be too surprised if they kick things into gear as we start the second half. And getting 6 rounds, considering, you know, how 2 of their core players have necessarily, you know, gone a little bit missing, is still a decent doing from NRG side.
Well, 3 rounds is all that separates these two teams. Pistol round could be NRG's way back into this, and those are the odds. Liquid look to be the favourites ever so slightly, but I wouldn't say this one really has any clear winner just yet.
I'd definitely get on board with that. As you said, it's just a pistol round. Being able to win the anti-ecos, and NRG are right back into it. Fugly. Oh, makes a footstep. Did Nitro hear that? No, seems pretty unaffected by it. Definitely could have been an opportunity for them to find an easy frag as Liquid set up for an execution here towards Ivy.
Breezy is the man. He has to be like a sentry gun here. Oh, that's not what you want to see. Tagged down low. He has to go ahead and give that up. Smoke's rained in. Steel's going to go barreling on through, and they're not ready for that. No one in position to actually keep an eye on this smoke, and that's a fatal error that's going to come back to punish NRG. Now, Ethan is hot on the heels, but Naf is even faster. Drops him from the server, and it's Daps. 1v5, and, you know, we kind of been speaking about the resurgence of this man, but this is probably too much to ask of him.
Yeah, no, a little bit much to deal with there, and that went from being nobody finding each other to start things off to 4 NRG players being removed from the server within 5 seconds. Solid execute from Team Liquid. They get the start they absolutely wanted and wished for. I mean, I guess the hopes of seeing Cirque on an op right off the bat is not going to be too likely. But we see 4 nades being brought up here on the side of NRG. Nade stack might be incoming, but they've actually split themselves up. 3 of the nades go out, and only Ethan left with his. It's actually done pretty significant damage onto Twist as well.
Ooh, nice shot from Daps with that USP. Not really expecting anything else, though, from them in this round. That nade goes out from Ethan, doesn't find anything. It's always really annoying, because it feels like in the rounds where they buy the nades, you never ever see any possibility of like a nade stack working anywhere. But then like on the one round where like teams decide to not, it's suddenly like all 5 players bunched up in one tiny area. But Liquid just looking to try and keep as many players as they can alive here. I think for me now, it feels like Liquid could just walk all over NRG in the second half. The only reason being, And I think the one that's going to become more and more apparent as this match goes on is Cirque not showing up to the party. We kind of have all the other pieces of the puzzle there for NRG, it feels like, apart from him. And he's, usually such a powerful force within this roster, especially on Train, where it's such an AWP-dominated map.
Yeah, no,
I feel like we're going to need to see him step up, especially when you look, Naf and Nitro both playing really, really well with the AWP.
It is typical that, once we decide to highlight him, he kind of goes missing. Could have needed a bit of a spotlight shined at him to wake up, because he has been an absolutely crucial part of NRG's success. And one of the, you mentioned the Sydney qualifiers, right? And one of the players who really just stuck it to Liquid throughout that series was Cirque with that AWP, because when he gets into it, when he has that AWP in his hands, there's no equal on the server on the side of Liquid. You mentioned it. Yeah, sure, Naf and Nitro have been doing pretty all right with the AWP, but not to the level of what Cirque has been showing so far in the season. And again, they're going to go for another nade stack. Let's see if it has a bit more lethal potential this time around. Twist, again, takes a bit of damage. Hasn't necessarily learned his lesson, but still going to run out of there with his life intact.
Yeah, there's another stat pad round. Elige, he's a big fan of padding those stats. Let's go down, but... Okay, these USPs are doing some damage.
Got a couple of railguns out there. Though does eventually find Breeze, and Ethan is caught out by Nav. But very conservative ecos actually coming in from NRG. Normally you see eco rounds being, the standard CZ armor, buy up in the second round and that kind of stuff. But they really just wanted to save up as much money as possible, and it makes sense. You do want the utility at hand on a map like Trainer. You don't necessarily want to sacrifice it by having to buy a FAMAS or anything like that. And on the end of Zerk, obviously you want the AWP in his hands as well. This is where NRG have to make their stand.
Are ready for the speed on this? Fugly certainly is. He applies the brakes to the Liquid Train, and everything comes crashing to a halt. Fantastic stuff from Fugly. Now Nitro is finally able to deal with him. There's so many players rotating in. Circular dispatch of Naf. And actually, it's one of the first shots we've seen him hit with this AWP. It's been a kill shot. And there we go. He's starting to find his footing. And this is where things can get scary for Liquid. It's only 2 kills. But, he always doubles his kills in 1 round. So I'm kind of clutching at anything I can get for Cirque. It's going to be a confidence-boosting round for everyone in NRG. I think that's what they needed. Hopefully now we can see Cirque. Now that he's got the taste for blood, maybe we can see that bloodlust start to kick in.
Well, it's going to be like a shark in the water. But yeah, as you mentioned, critical round for NRG to pick up. Not just because, obviously, the situation they would be left in money-wise, but I think also confidence-wise. If they lose that kind of a snappy round to Liquid just off of a straight-up inner rush, that could be very demoralizing. That, like, you might feel like you never really got a foot all into the game and just kind of had to sit on the sidelines and watch as Team Liquid just tear you apart. Said though, look at Fugly here. Aggressive once again. Oh, they did have an opportunity to find Naf and potentially Elige right after, but it's not going to win out the duel. Does put damage onto Naf, but obviously Liquid with a big advantage here. Nate or Ethan, forward position, has to dodge the flash. Will do so. Doesn't find the head of Elige though. Has been able to kind of fend off Liquid though from getting any sort of pop control, which is really important in this kind of scenario. And actually, pretty significant gamble from NRG here. They've just completely vacated the inner bomb site.
Yeah, they've gone for a stack over here towards A. They've loaded all their eggs in one basket. Steal. He just assumes the corner's clear. Luckily enough, Nitro's able to trade, but then there's Dabs posted up in the crossfire. Cirque has his work cut out for him. And oh, that is a flurry of death.
Well
that
then.
round ends almost as fast as it looked like it was about to begin. 13-7 in Liquid. They're back into this one.
I was looking really good for NRG. They managed to deal with the Ivy push. Obviously, Breeze pushing up aggressively, finding the first strike. Dabs doing a really good job of trading as well. And then just Shirk missing the opportunity to find that frag by Olaf. And yeah, within the snap of a finger, the entirety of NRG is just gone. Very well done by Liquid. And again, money not in a great place for NRG. No ops, not a whole lot of utility, honestly, if Liquid decide to slow things down. This is where the final nail in the coffin could potentially come from Liquid.
Yeah, They spot Daps. Of course, the decision to force spy here is something that could come back to punish NRG. If they lose this round, they are force spying till the bitter end of this match. Now, Daps is holding close. The CZ is, well, it just loves these environments. Ooh, but it doesn't like that. Ali's going to hop on down now that he's found that frag. And Cirque is able to trade, so that's now a rifle that can be retrieved. Steel's slipped into the back line in the meantime. Cirque, quick turnaround, but he will be dispatched of by Nitro. Man advantage up in favor of Liquid, and they have a man locking down this A-bomb site. Bomb still sits back. Twist taking his time, clearing out all these angles, being very methodical in his approach. Ethan going to try and go toe-to-toe with Nitro, who resides down here in Ivy. Doesn't have Fugly nearby to trade, and Fugly's only on the CZ, so Ethan, he has to win this fight if he's going to take it, and he does not. Suddenly, it's all thrust onto Fugly, 1v3, and this round, a monumental one for NRG, one that they had to win if they wanted to stand any chance of keeping in this game. They have denied the bomb, and if he found Nitro there, that round was suddenly very, very possible. There was so little time left, but they managed to get back on top of things. Liquid up 14-7. And now for NRG, do they force or do they go for the eco and try to play for the overtime?
I mean, they were very conservative with their ecos. I wouldn't be too surprised if they actually just put all their eggs into one basket, hope to ride the storm out, and that seems like it's going to be the play. I do think I would have rather seen them just go for an earlier eco in that previous round, and if that was going to be their approach the entire time, instead of trying to get right back into it, now we're not going to have the opportunity to see an op in the hands of Zerk. And again, utility is going to be an issue even in that potentially last round. So Liquid with a ton of opportunities and a massive advantage here to close out map number 1.
It almost feels weird that they went for the force in the previous and are now willing to eco.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, if they didn't buy up anything at all in the previous round, they would have had, all things considered, a pretty good buy coming into this one, and still had, you know, a tiny cushion at least to prevent Liquid from just grabbing a very easy 2 extra rounds and close out the game. So, but again, it's a calculated risk, as you said. You know, we've seen lesser buys do more on train in the past. I mean, hell, Liquid, the kind of thing that got them back into this game was, you know, off of the back of scouts and ZZs. But here we are. Liquid just making their way. Not a whole lot of resistance met initially here, so given a lot of map control, and they're going to make their way out into yard.
And Nitro's leading the charge. It's looking like it's going to be a very, very quick round. Liquid, once again, they just love to just explode into these sites. Their explosive play has been so good. And right now, I mean, it feels like, you know, the resolution just can't be found for NRG. They're going to be going for the bite. They've got the AWP out for Cirque. And, you know, Cirque and Ethan, they're really like two of the big names we expect to see stepping up for NRG, and they're the two that have always stepped up when they've had success. And right now, both of them struggling to find their footing here on map number 1. Now, it all comes down to this for NRG. Do they manage to keep the dream alive? Cirque's going to try his hand at aggression into Ivy. Steel's here to try and shut him down, but Breezy actually gets that along with Cirque. The terrible duo, terrible twosome I was meant to say, but I just
terrible
with them
duo.
instead. Yeah,
Awful players.
You know, they're down there towards Ivy, and they've been able to find great success early on. Now Fugly. That's a nice shot. Love to see that. Trade does come through from Elise. They're not out of this round just yet. NRG starting to sweat a bit now as the bomb goes down. They're being made to work for this round. No freebies from Liquid.
No
Double
kits
molly
either.
down to connect. They're going to make things that much harder.
Forward position from Liege here. That's going to be tough to deal with. It does actually take some fire damage, so his position is known now, but Nitro's finding Ethan. Oh, it's all down to Liege, and Breeze is going to do a quick trade there to actually secure an 8th round for NRG. Fairly impressive done, and obviously it comes off the back of the aggression, as you mentioned, in Ivy there. Breeze and Zerk combining for 2 immediate opening frags. So, in the case of NRG, yeah, sure, they do drop 3 players, which is going to put a dent into their already hurting economy, but they hold on to an AK and an AWP. And considering the circumstances, that's pretty much all they can hope for. Daps is going to take a bit of a hit, goes down to the FAMAS, and only has a smoke and a flash to his name. But for NRG, that doesn't really matter all that much. They just have to win out from this point on. Lots of utility on the side of Liquid. And they've already set up for a bit of an execute here, so this might be a quick play. Oh, and Ethan gets caught out. It's going to make the entry point into yard that much easier for Liquid. Naps can find more and more frags. It's 2 to his name. Daps goes down. Shark does reply here. Just like that, and a bit of a flurry. We're down to 2v2, and Breeze is going to follow up with the advantage for Energy here. Steel left alone, doesn't have the bomb. Has made his way into connector. Right now, Energy probably just should opt to play together here. They have the constant potential for a trade at least.
Yeah, he's going for this wrap around, but the only issue is this is given time for NRG to reposition. So, I mean, they don't know where he is, but he also now doesn't know where they are. So, bit of a trade-off in that regard. However, these two players have isolated themselves. There's no way that they could trade these out. They do have a bit of a crossfire, but it is a way in for Steel, and they've given him a very generous way in. 1v1. Fugly holding from afar, they're able to pick that up, and just like that, Liquid, they do forfeit that round the way of NRG, 9-6. They are slowly but surely clawing their way back into this one. They're fighting tooth and nail to do it as well. Both of those rounds coming down to 1v2 scenarios in which Liquid looked like they could have actually made their way back into it.
Yeah, and this time around, no opt being able to come through into the next round for Energy. And that means Daps, who had a FAMAS in the previous round, he's down to a ZZ. And again, Team Liquid just maintaining that tempo. Once again, catching Energy players off guard. Zerk goes down immediately. A ton of damage being done by that Molotov, though. Daps finds the leaves as well, and you can see Naf and Twists very low on HP.
I mean, Naf gonna get caught out. It all falls on a Nitro. He's looking desperately for something else. And that AK just slightly too far away. If only his arms were a couple of inches longer. You know, I was going to say he should have been eating his vegetables, but I don't think that helps. Or he should have very stubby arms.
Well, nonetheless, Energy make it to double figures, but for every round they win, you kind of think to yourself like, oh, maybe this is going to be the time where they, you know, they get a decent buy-in. But we're seeing MP9s being brought out on the CT side as well. Luckily for them, though, it's going to be an eco round on the side of Liquid, so that does give them a bit of a breather, but still, it's not all swell on the side of Energy. But at this point, every round they just kind of get closer and closer. Does have to put a bit of a worry into Liquid's head. Obviously, you do want to close out an opponent like this as quickly as possible. Do you know how explosive these Energy players can be?
Naf, the man who's currently second for Liquid, he's quickly restarting his route, we've just been informed. So
there you go.
We should be getting back into this in just a little bit, but give us some time to talk. I like the odd technical pause, I'll be honest with you. It's like a nice time, you know, to look at the broader picture.
Take a step back.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know, take your head out of the game for a minute. Focus on the bond that brings us all together. Yeah. You know, I love this game. And top of the board right now for Liquid Elige. He's a very, very keen gamer. 26-14, 115 ADR. He has looked fantastic. Really then over on NRG, Breezy and Fugly, it's been them. Cirque and Ethan, two names that kind of become household names within this NRG roster. They having a hard time with things right now. Yeah,
Cirque has definitely had a bit of a easier time during the CT half. You have to consider he had 2 frags going into the CT side of things, so he's been getting into things. Ethan on his end, though, only 2 frags to his name on the CT side. But as long as Energy are winning rounds, that's pretty much all they care about. But yeah, Elige, as you mentioned, definitely been the driving force for Liquid, and it seems like Energy are having a bit of a hard time dealing with this very quick aggression from Liquid. Even though they've been able to scramble the rounds together eventually, they seem to be getting caught out quite often to start off the rounds. So if Liquid are able to, again, put on the pressure initially and early on, and then kind of just fall back and play a default from there on out, that could be the end of our, I guess, rising star team here in the NA Pro League.
Yeah, it does feel like, you know, these round victories are on a knife's edge. And while they're winning, and it's like, you know, Liquid are having some troubles overcoming that hurdle, it always feels like, you know, if one thing had gone like slightly different, if like one nade didn't do as much damage, or if one guy didn't like get like, you know, like killed through a smoke or something, there's
that. Yeah, that's just the end of the game.
round would just be going the way of Liquid, and there's the same thing, kind of, you know, like a rinse repeat, like insane aggression over towards Pop and main, catching NRG when they're not ready for it. And then, to be honest with you, the utility usage has been very, very good from NRG. Even in, you know, the round just before this one, where we only had, you know, Daps was on a CZ, and I think, you know, there was like a FAMAS in play and stuff like that. It was the nades that did so much damage, right, that made that round possible. Yeah, no,
so it definitely has. And even in this scenario where you see Elise coming storming out Pop Dog, the fact that they get the Molotov down that burns, you know, 2.5 Liquid players down to the ground, it makes it so much easier for the guys, even with lesser weaponry, to actually have an impact on the round. So very true. Utility usage being extremely crucial. And we did see NRG, you know, again, they took a very conservative approach as to how they wanted to buy up for the first buy round. You know, Eco's pretty much just only relying on utility, not upgrading into Kevlar or pistols. So they definitely know the worth of having their smoke, Molotovs, and HEs and so on this map. Technical issue as a result. So Naf is back on the server, and we get to resume the action.
Yeah, Liquid, they've finally extinguished their vast supply of money that they once had. And they're onto the pistols here. This is actually a good shot for NRG to start to build up some money. And Breezy, okay, there was more there than he bargained for. Nade finds good damage. Sir going to go running on in and does pick up 2.
Well, that is the SMGs expended, which is okay in a scenario like this. Cirque, you know, kind of gets to build a bit of confidence as well, getting a couple of easy kills. And, oh, Ethan rinsing things up. So
sure, so yeah, we got double nitro over on Liquid.
Double nitro?
Yeah,
the more the merrier.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing well. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong if you're Liquid and have to duplicate any of your players, honestly. You're pretty well off in any case.
I mean, you know, we have the loud train sound on Overpass, yet we have the technology to clone Nitro. What even is the world that we live in?
You know, priorities and whatnot. Ethan is going to get aggressive and finally find Elige, who once again wanted to set a bit of pace into the round for Team Liquid, but doesn't really pan out this time around. And utility-wise, still a fair bit on Liquid's side to be able to set up for an executor. Obviously, some of this is going to be it's going to have to be used to actually gain some traction and some space towards Ivy. Steel's going to use what he has left to clear out. But NRG haven't really been too interested in actually contesting this Ivy area in buy rounds, so might be a bit of wasted utility on the side of Liquid, and Zurich finding one more frag as well onto Naf. It's going to make things a little bit easier. Backline approach here from Nitro and Steel. Nobody really biting on the side of NRG though. They haven't let go of the inner bomb site. Seen them do this in the past as well. Right now, it's all on Liquid really to make the first move. They need to find the frag here to start things off. Look at this setup around the bomb train. This is going to be an impenetrable fortress. There you go. Arm spotted. Damage done. Oh, and they still find the frag onto Ethan, but Cirque is there to reply and twist. Only man standing, but only for a few seconds. Breeze, 2 easy kills there. And the op is picked up by Daps as well. And NRG, well, minute by minute getting closer here. Liquid got to match point when it was 7 rounds in on the scorecard for NRG. And we have to consider the fact that, well, Liquid are scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of money for each of these buy rounds. You can see no Molotovs this time around either. Just flashes and smokes. Once again, Ethan finds great success in Pop Dog. That's 2 frags immediately going his way. Naf does find a return, but already you can see NRG players being in position to actually respond to any sort of followed-up aggression from Liquid. And now the real issue starts for Liquid. They don't really have any utility. They have a Molotov and a flash on Twist, but how are you actually going to break a bomb site with that? It seems like they need to take a step back to ponder over things. Try to figure this out. Right now, though, NRG poised to get that 13th round on the board. I mean, the money loss bonus, or the loss bonus, is going in the favor of Liquid. They are stacking up a fair bit of cash for every round they lose, but not really the amount of money that's going to allow them to get an op and full utility, that kind of stuff. Daps get spotted out. just quickly falls back, and Cirque really getting into the thick of things here. We talked about how vital he can be for Energy, and well, how lackluster he was in the first half. He's been working his way up to 15 frags now, so he's joining the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, that's monstrous from him. And, you know, I think for NRG, the thing that's impressed me the most is how much they've been able to adapt to how Liquid have been playing this. I mean, you know, a lot of the success for Liquid came from their ability to control Pop Dog so quickly, and Ethan, he's just been a monster there. So he's been locking it down. Suddenly, it's 13-15. Liquid have to force here, or partial buy, sorry, down to $2,000. Means they have one full buy into this next round. And NRG, they've almost pulled it back to OT, which seems to be a bit of a habit of theirs on this map. It was yesterday versus SK as well in ECS. They were able to do that. If you recall, that was the one that made us have to see them forfeit.
Yeah, it was a little bit delayed.
But yeah, they're a big fan of clawing it back to OT and then winning in overtime. They like to keep things theatric. That's the American way.
It's all about building suspense, you know, giving the people what they want.
Exactly.
NRG
they love a storyline. They love a good storyline, NRG do.
The comeback heroes. And
here we
Zerk
go. I mean,
definitely having a bit of a comeback half here.
Yeah, he's living up to it. Lee's going to be able to find one, but Zerk's not giving up yet. He's looking to try and pen this novel. A fantastic storyline. But the comeback of NRG and Elige and Twist, they're the ones to go ahead and try and shut this hope and dream down. Twist will be tagged low, but Elige is unrelenting. He will get caught out in the open. Ethan's able to find him, and suddenly Twist's on 15 HP and a CZ. All he's got, he's able to peek out and find Daps, but Ethan trades. It comes down to the wire once again, but NRG, they've been able to find themselves a 14th round. They can buy up into the next, no problem. And this is it for Liquid. They've put it all on it to this one round. Their buy can come in. They've got everything they need. Both teams are in the same boat in that regard. It's going to be a full buy across the board. Everything you need, all the trimmings, into the last round of regulation. Oh, I always struggle with that one when I'm tired. I always want to say relegation.
Yeah, no, that would be a bit of a different story. Well, yeah, that is true. They have all the trimmings, the lettuce, the barbecue sauce.
Lettuce, yeah, the iconic trimming.
Yeah.
I am actually more of like a roast dinner. You clearly look I guess, like a burger. Either that or like a Norwegian roast is just very, very different to elsewhere in the world. You guys have your meat, your lettuce, the barbecue sauce. It's all there.
It's all there, and well, Energy would be a fairly deflating feeling if they were able to lose this at the very brink of it. Liquid, though, given a lot of space to work with here, and look at the setup from Energy, just so passive. Fugly with that off now, and double off setup on Energy's side, but just holding so back forward. They're setting everything up for a bit of a retake. Finds Naf as he tries to drop down into lower, but Bomb's already made its way down here, or I say that, it's about to get picked up in lower. But even then, Steel getting caught out as he wants to set up for a bit of a flank, and well, this inner push went awry real fast. 2 members left on the side of Liquid. They do have the bomb with them out into Yard, but already been spotted out. Daps just needs to stay alive for a little bit longer. Rotations are coming in. Actually, Nitro finds Cirque through the smoke here. A little bit of over-aggressive peek, and that doesn't, well, it does mean that Energy can't actually boost over the smoke. They might have to wait this out. Do have the main advantage still. Molotov goes down, and ooh, nice shot from Nitro onto Breeze. Fugly's gonna follow it up, though. That's the 3rd kill of the round for him. And Elige, Cubby under Sniper. It's gonna be tough to get out of there.
Oh, you almost imagined he was gonna do that.
That was a bit of a clenching moment.
That would have been unreal, but NRG, they pulled it to overtime. 15-15, and let's not forget, that was a monster. I think what it was a 7-round consecutive streak from NRG to get them to overtime.
Yeah, it's 7 or 8. I think it might have even been 15-7 at one point.
Actually, I think you're right. I think it was even worse than I'm giving them credit for. That is unreal from them. And for Liquid, you know, I mean, these guys, there was a time where, like, you know, the meme was, oh, Liquid, they can't close out games. And then it seemed like, oh, they fixed that. And now it's like, no, well,
maybe not.
Have they fixed it, though?
But is it a case of not necessarily Liquid not being able to close out because, you know, their own undoing, but is it because of Energy or actually just showing that extra level of poise?
Well, exactly. I think Liquid were playing well. I think it was just that NRG went above and beyond there.
Yeah, and you did mention it, you know, around, you know, once we saw Energy get to double figures, is the fact that so many of these rounds were on a knife's edge. Just, you know, a gust of wind onto one of the Energy players, and that could have just toppled them over. And Liquid would have gotten away with this with a rather comfortable win. Instead, we've seen Breeze, Fugly, and Daps starting Energy off to kind of keep them in the game, but once we got to that CT side, Cirque and Ethan both having crucial impact on how these rounds played out. You mentioned the fact that Ethan finally got control over Pop Dog. That allowed for some calmness to kind of spread across the Energy lineup, and when Cirque got his hands on that off multiple times, he was able to show why they wanted it in his hands. And now, plenty of money aside, they're going to be able to buy up here all 3 rounds if they just handle their economy somewhat decently. And oh, again, one of the setups that we saw deliver the goods for Energy in the past, with Cirque and Breeze going aggressively here in Ivy. Those flash steal, but they don't actually pull the trigger. Breeze is going to be a little bit late. Still manages to actually sort out his aim. Gets caught a little bit flat-footed versus Steel initially, but brings it back. He lets men advantage. Oh, Ethan making a ton of noise. Twist knows he's there. He's actually just going to back away instead of take the challenge.
And you feel like that's a safe call to make. Elise progressing on in. Cirque's holding the angle, but Elise able to find it. That's one. He's always been big on the entry, as has Elise, but this time Ethan snuffs him out. 2 kills there in the defense. He's bought time, and time is all they need. Dap's going to go to chime in with one more. It's all eyes on Nitro. 1 versus 3. 35 seconds, bomb on his back. And all of his teammates' eyes digging into him. It's Daps to shut him down from the heavens as they went out the first in this overtime.
And Energy are surprisingly good at actually being able to deal with giving up a lot of control in yard here. Outside of Ethan playing aggressively in a couple of rounds, they've been very content with just backing off from Ivy, backing off from T-Main, allowing Liquid to actually get up by E-Box and out by Olaf, and still being able to set up in solid crossfires around the bomb train. It's definitely not an approach that you see being applied too often, but they're making it work, and the first round of the OT is going to go in their hand. That's extremely important as a CT side, especially when you want ops in their hands. And now we see Daps was the one to find 2 off breaks in that previous round, but he's going to hand it over to Fugly and Zerk. This time, double setup towards the inner, and Liquid once again going for a contact play, but ooh, feet sticking out like a sore thumb. That's going to allow for Zerk to pounce twice. Double smoke comes down. Nitro is actually just going to commit towards the inner bomb site somewhat, but that Molotov is going to force him out of position. So nothing gained in terms of map control for Liquid, and they're 2 men down. A lot of utility spent as well. They do have the right kind of nades left on the 3 remaining members. Zerk though, in an aggressive position once more. Misses the shot though. So put some pot shots onto Naf, but eventually goes down. Dabs on the rotation, finds Steel, and Naf, previously tagged up by Cirque, gets taken out by the nade. And well, Energy definitely coming to life here towards the end of the series.
I mean, I'm telling you, train and overtimes with NRG, like, name a more iconic duo. They just love it. And the scary thing is like, most teams, you kind of, when the fatigue kicks in, it's like they get worse, right? The longer they get really, really sloppy in overtime, things start to degrade because you get more tired, You just want to close out, like, you want the game to be done. That's what it becomes eventually. But for NRG, they're so determined. It feels like, they constantly improve and build upon every single round. So when we see them in overtime, it's like they're actually playing, their best CS.
They just want to play the game on hard mode, Harry. That's what it's all about.
I mean, to be fair, I live by the idea that this is when I was trying to play. I tried to play professionally. By the way, funny meme there for you. Being from the UK, you just can't. And that, in fact, my reaction time is just awful. But I didn't play with a crosshair or any sound because if you look it up, a lot of athletes who were the best in their sport often played in really, really poor conditions. So then when they had all the advantages, they were godlike.
I mean, still,
Ooh, maybe Fugly lives by that mantra.
He's playing with a crosshair, that's for sure.
There we go. Yeah, he's definitely playing with a crosshair. He's you could tell because he's landing shots like that.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Steel has made his way out into yard with Nitro, but that doesn't really matter because the bomb is dropped on the inner bomb site, and they've already made a significant amount of sound. So Fugly is going to be prepared for this. Still loses the duel versus Steel though. Breeze, he's going to hear this. He's going to be able to execute. Well, okay, I should probably stop jinxing the NRG players. Everyone going out for a duel. Somewhat unnecessary, obviously, considering they have bomb control, but they're given a chance to Liquid here. And double peek from NRG up to lower. Perfect timing to take out Nitro, and while Steel won some unlikely duels up to this point, he's going to have to win three more. Smoke goes down, but at the wrong time. Cirque closes out the round, and well, perfect half for NRG to start off that OT. And I just want to get back to the point that you played with no sound and no crosshair. I will say, I can definitely see, you know, the origin stories of you know, famous soccer players, you know, growing up without football shoes and that kind of stuff. But they did have a ball, Harry. And
well, yeah, that part, no, but like I didn't play, you know, with like no monitor or something. That would have been unreal. But you know, it's
I feel like the crosshair is fairly vital. I mean, I could get the no sound.
I think if you made a lot of the pros delete their crosshair, I think they'd still do just fine, right? Because you kind of like just learn where the middle of the screen is anyway.
I feel like your taps are going to be a little bit off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's very true. I can't even remember what level like I actually competed at while I was doing that. It was terrible, like, you know,
it's like enemy down or something.
It helped me for like,
you
know, because when I finally put the crosshair on, I was like, now I'm going to be godlike, and it didn't really make any difference. Like, I mean, I know I was like marginally better for like 3 days, and then it was like, oh, I've done this for months and just wasted all my time.
God.
But let's see. I mean, you know, NRG, they've gone flawless in the first half of this overtime. You couldn't ask for more than that. They've clearly got their crosshairs switched on, their sound turned up, every advantage they can. Steel's brought out an auto sniper because,
yeah,
you know,
that
why
inner
not?
setup is pretty nasty. You've got Naf and Connector watching towards upper and Steel watching lower with an auto sniper. Definitely don't want to run into any issues towards that side, but it does also weaken any sort of retake. But NRG, I want to play it slow, extremely slow actually. Oh, that nade does a fair amount of damage onto a leash. Just gonna move forward though. Smoke fades. Molotov comes down, so NRG just doing things by the book. Nitro once again though has gotten a very aggressive position into main. We did see NRG having a bit of an issue dealing with that in regulation. Leash is actually going to fall back. Knows that pop control has been lost, but finds the right timing to find Ethan. He's also going to follow that up with a frag onto Fugly, so two-man advantage going in the way of Liquid. Twists wins out the battle versus Breeze, and Nitro in this aggressive position once more being successful, and flawless round to start things off for Liquid.
Yeah, sure, why not? Good stuff. Liquid, they going to be feeling good about that one. Steel's got to keep his precious auto sniper. Naf has the AWP. And going flawless there, going to be a very big confidence booster for Liquid. Of course, they need to win 2 more to carry this through to overtime. They physically have no room for error.
Yeah, they really don't. And NRG, they should start to recognize the fact that when they slowed the game down too much, they're not really able to get a whole lot going off of that. So maybe try to play for earlier picks instead of just going straight into executes and that kind of stuff. For now, seeing a different approach to it. Fugly moving his way towards the inner is actually going to back out, so maybe they actually do revert into the same old, same old. It's going down into pop this time though. No Liquid players anywhere near. They've no Nitro inside of A main, no Elise inside of pop. Just a very passive hold. But again, they're not really getting any sort of information as to what Liquid are doing. They haven't attempted to find any sort of frags by dropping down into pop, picking out towards Connector, or actually looking towards Ivy and Breeze. You've got the bomb here. You can't stray off too far. And again,
oh no, Nitro's coming his way. This is going to be very, very bad for NRG.
Yeah, this is the same issue they ran into previous time. Might play themselves a little bit though if Liquid decide to rotate towards the inner bomb site, but oh, Nitro, he's going to make the way in towards A main, and Breeze, he's so unaware.
I mean, luckily enough for him, he's been able to cross, but no, if he goes down here, there's no one in a good spot to trade. Nitro's waiting, and he just keeps on waiting. A second kill, finally pounces into action, and he's torn them limb from limb. Nitro locks in a 17th for Liquid. They want to take a flawless run as well, and that trigger discipline mixed with a monstrous flank means that Nitro, he's gonna done it. He's made a 17th possible, and just like this, 1 round is all they need now. And NRG, they're feeling the pressure. They're sweating bullets. They've taken a pause here. I'm a firm believer that, you know, in overtime, unlike your first round, if you need to win one especially, just go for a set piece into that B bomb set. I think it's so reliable at getting the bomb plant there. Yeah,
and from that point on, if you just get forward positions, a lot of things can happen. Even if you end up in, you know, a 2v3, a 3v4, you can still play off of that man disadvantage with the smokes still down and whatnot. You can find a couple of easy frags to equalize things. But what we're seeing, the recurring issue for NRG is when they play it too slow, they do eventually give up too much map control. And Liquid are too good of a team to not let that go unpunished. That's the second time around we see the Ivy flank just completely wrecking the faces of NRG. Still, decent buy on the side of NRG. I do hope we see some more, if not just committed aggression, at least just throw out some shots towards inner.
I like this. It looks like we're going to try to hand out aggression at main. And it's Elige to spearhead that. He doesn't even have to get that far in. Like, the information he gets from being there alone is massive, right? And he's also got Nitro there with him. And it's a really, really nice play from Liquid because they know, you know, they've been pressuring Ivy time and time again. Clearly NRG are going to try and focus there. So they completely switch it up. And, you know, the smoke's down. That's kind of going to telegraph that someone might have gone aggressive for NRG. So they now are weary of that. They've gone ahead and pulled Breezy and Daps back. But you can just see Liquid, they're in their heads. They've made them dedicate a lot of players, you know, just keeping an eye on the flank, making sure not too much information can get gained. And now the rest of NRG are setting up for this B play. They're going to start to make their way in. Naf opens up, and this push is disjointed all because of that one Molotov. That's all it takes.
Elige?
Elige just kills himself. What happened there?
It's not the, not the time and place to do that.
Yeah, this is the worst time for that to happen, especially from the man who's been the star for Liquid in this map. It all comes down to this, and if that actually plays into it, that would be heartbreaking. But Twist is able to pull one back. And a second, now it's Cirque. 1v3, he's going to spring to life though, and Cirque's pulled it back. 1-on-1, and NRG, they need him now more than ever. He was very, very quiet in the first half on their T side originally. And now it's all falling into his lap to try and keep them in this. Naf is sticking it. Cirque's got no idea. Times tick low, and Liquid, they're going to get away with it. Naf gets the ninja defuse, and just like that, we're going to a double overtime.
Well, again, NRG using so much time to actually getting towards that into their final execute, giving up a ton of map control. Here we see what happened to Elige. Bit of a funky moment there. And already, actually, Nitro's getting a frag onto Ethan. And Twist gets two for himself. Well, that's his... not live. Got a bit confused there. Cut off the replay. Just got right into the action. Maybe a little bit worried. But yeah, NRG's slow-paced style here on the T side is not necessarily doing them too many favors. But as you mentioned, you know, as long as you get in towards that inner bomb site, a lot of things can happen for you if you're on the T side. You just need to find the right picks at the right time, and all of a sudden the world's your oyster. And look at Zerk. He started off coming into the second half with 2 frags, now topping the scoreboard. You could talk about that either being, you know, a monumentous task from his end, or maybe his teammates not necessarily being able to keep up the pace, but regardless, Cirque has definitely found his form as the game has progressed.
I mean, I can't even believe we're seeing a second overtime right now. NRG,
they look so poised to do this. I mean, they went from 7-15 to 18-15.
Oh, for Cirque, that's awkward. That was a lot of fire. That's never good to be standing in. Here's Steel. Does fine damage. Burns down a Breezy as well. And Elige. How's he here? I was going to say, he snuck past Daps. He's able to pick that up. And there's another man here now. I don't quite know how this has happened. Oh, he's in the air. And Cirque's in the ground. Buried 6 feet under. RIP. It's all on Fugly. 1v4. Bomb down. He's gone aggressive. Going to try and isolate these first 2 players out from Connector. Smoke starts to fade, but Nitro wins the duel. And Liquid, they're in with the 19th round. NRG might have got the bomb down, but only 1 kill. That is surely not enough for them.
Well, when we get into OT, and it is 16k, obviously not going to be able to do enough economic damage to either of the sides to actually impact their economy. So at this point, it's just about getting the rounds. The energy there, again, every time they seem to execute towards anything, and even this time when they go rather quickly towards that inner bomb site, they just let up certain points of the map that Liquid are constantly able to abuse. Elige just getting in between the players on energy as they try to make their way towards inner. It's just not the way you want it to go. Daps Quickly moves down Pop, though. Actually gets past that Molotov, and Ethan as well. Finds his way out into Pop. Nitro drops down. Another smoke towards E-Box here, and is going to get found out by Breeze. Breeze actually finds Naf as well, and well, bit of a chaotic situation here as Liquid once again really quick on these flags. Stealing is able to find one frag, but the rest of his venue is cut off, and that leaves NRG with 3 men up and a bomb plant down, and Steel with a whole lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, for NRG to even find one round on their T side, that could actually be enough. I mean, their CT side has been head over heels better than this T side. So, you know, there's always that. Let's not forget, 22 is the magic number we're looking for. And whoever wins this one here is going to have a massive advantage heading into this second half. For Liquid, it feels like it's kind of like a must-win almost, because, you know, if you recall, their T side wasn't too fantastic either.
One could actually say they had equally poor / good halves, seeing how we ended up in overtime here. There we go. Steel once again with the aggression, but this time we're left somewhat alone for the time being, but Naf is there in time to find Fugly. Cirque gets bullied away from A main, and Dabs, the close position, might be there quicker than Elise expects, and that's going to be, again, numbers equalized, 2v2 situation. Shirk has been put down to 44 HP, but still, rotation needs to come in from Naf.
And now smooth through connector. Flash goes in, and that's perfect. This is left twist out in the open. Breezy just going to miss the peak.
It's the second time he doesn't go for a wide enough peak. We saw it on Ivy as well on the CT side. That might be an opportunity lost. He's going to get a second here as well. Oh, is he going to use a molly first? Gives up his position as well. Now Twist knows. Twist should win this duel 10 out of 10 times. And indeed he does. Cirque's going to hear that. Does find a nice shot as well. Now, though, there's no idea where Naf is. Plenty of time on the board, though. Ooh. Just kind of runs for it. Naf trying to get into a better position, expecting Cirque to get the bomb plant down as quick as possible. And in the end, ends up with a round in the favor of Liquid. So they do get the round advantage, at least, going into the second half. But as you said, both teams have had their issues on the T side. So it remains to be seen if they're actually going to be able to do something with this. Both teams were flawless in the first overtime on their CT side. This time around, NRG managed to snag one.
And yeah, now the question remains, is that enough? Liquid, they fought hard. NRG have fought hard. Both teams really fighting tooth and nail to try and keep in this and eventually win things out. It's going to be rifles across the board for Liquid. That's an interesting choice. No one donning the AWP. Suggests to me they might try their hand at something a little bit faster here. That's what they love doing on their T side. And already Elige, look at this. This man is a speed demon all the way over here towards B. Lots of aggression early on, trying to spot to see if anyone from NRG takes a peek, and they have not. Fugly's here on his own. 4 players for NRG stacked up over towards the A bomb site.
Yeah. No ops actually supporting that inner bomb site. We've seen Fugly play with the op on inner as well. This time it's 2 rifles and Dabs and Fugly. Team Liquid, though, much slower pace than what we saw for the better part of their T side so far. Might be able to find some more luck with that than what we did see NRG find. They're going to make their way up Ivy, and once again, NRG not really too interested in actually putting any pressure on the extremities of the map. Giving up Pop Dog, not too aggressive towards A main, and same thing with Ivy. Breeze throws the Molotov in, actually gets caught out, but does find Nitro before he goes down. Backline is open though. Ethan, patient, waits for Elise to come out of Pop Dog, and well, numbers dwindling for Team Liquid here. As I say that though, Naf is able to find Cirque, but Ethan once again just having the right timing to find unknowing Liquid players, and Naf has left his own devices. 1v3. There's the Molly to clear out 7. Doesn't spot anyone. NRG just playing this very safely. We are in positions as well. Even if we're on work to go down, 2 players in positions to actually trade with that, and Dabs is going to close that out. So no early round advantage for Liquid. They can secure that OT number 3, I guess it would be. So the battle continues. As you mentioned, 22 is the magic number, and this time it's going to be Liquid to take the timeout. Both teams actually having 2 timeouts remaining at this point of the game, so I've been holding on to those cards pretty tightly. If you're Liquid, though, do you go back to playing that quick play style, even though it didn't necessarily pan out? It did lead to pretty chaotic rounds that could have gone either way. Didn't see all that much coming out of the slower paced rounds. They do have all the utility in the world to make their choices with.
I think if you're Liquid, maybe you go back to that super fast style of play, just because, you know, the rounds were close, as you said, right? It was down to like a razor's edge.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was almost working. They just kind of needed to connect their shots and find something. And, you know, I think at this point, once again, just like go for the fast playing towards that B bomb. It's like, why the hell not? You've only got Fugly there. He's playing it solo. I mean, admittedly, they don't know that. They haven't really progressed far enough to actually test too much of this out. And Daps plays that fast rotation. But I always kind of like it in the overtime, just as like a test in the waters thing. See what their B defense is like. If it's really strong, you know, by all means, never go there again, right? But
yeah, well, I kind of agree with that. Again, test the waters or actually make NRG think that they're attacking this so much that we should dedicate 2 players towards the bomb side, because again, that just by default creates more openings towards yard. But that's not going to be the approach from Liquid. Again, just walking up Ivy this time around as they've done in the past. Twist has spotted out Ethan as well, but he's completely undetected. Steel's actually going to move out before I expected. He probably would have had a free kill if you let Twist just go to work there. Instead, it's going to be Nav to find the trade kill. But so much real estate here on the side of Liquid. Cirque, though, just finding frags left and right. That's the third for a round. Ooh, nearly connects with Nap as well, but Nap is going to connect to Fugly himself. Leaves it into 1v1, and still 30 seconds on the clock. Bomb's getting picked up as well. He's going to head towards that inner bomb site. Daps has no idea as to what's going on. And well, Nap's going to have all the time in the world to actually find a proper afterplant position. He also has the Molotov as well, and no smoke in the hands of Daps. This is a golden opportunity for NAF to actually get that elusive T-side round for Team Liquid.
yeah, I think if they get this, then we're going to be getting a double overtime. That's the prediction I see. The pressure's really on for Daps. If they want to win this out, they need this round. You can't afford to let one slip through, especially when you consider how weak Liquid's T-side is. Ooh. And that smoke. Oh, smoke's finicky, but there you go. Daps wins it out. He's got to get his running shoes on, though. Legging it onto the bomb. Oh no. Don't try parkour now. Oh, it's going to be very, very close, but I
it should be
think
fine.
He's got it. NRG onto a 21st.
But
they deny it from Liquid, and actually just like that, now they're in the driver's seat.
I'm extremely confused as to what NAF decided to do in that scenario. He has a flash, he has a Molotov, and he could 100% play the standard higher position. Again, even if he doesn't have a Molotov, it's still a nice afterplant position to have. He just instead just kind of puts him in a stealth where he negates any sort of usage from his utility, and he doesn't necessarily have an escape path either. The only place he's safe from is lower. So out of all the positions you probably could have opted to go for in that scenario, that was probably the least favorable one I can imagine off the top of my head. So just really strange to see, especially, like, fair enough you put on the smoke initially, but when that's going to fade eventually, so you need to get a move on. It does give NRG the 21st round. They only need one more to close out the first map, and I definitely felt like that should have been Liquid's chance to secure at least a third overtime and potentially just grab the win themselves. Oh, Ethan this time actually picking up an auto sniper, so both teams actually opting to bring that out at some point. Just a very sniper heavy team actually now on the CT side. That could be problematic for potential retakes, but maybe the entire intention is to never let Liquid get the bomb plant down.
I was going to say, don't worry about retaking if the bomb never goes down.
Yep.
You know, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. Is that actually the saying, or is it the other way around? I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything anymore. But here's Liquid throwing out all the smokes outside. They're going to try and run the gauntlet. 4 players pushing in. NAF actually let fall away from Ivy, so maybe they're not committing to this. It looks like it. I don't know. It's a weird one. They've started to back away, but no, now they're going to start to make their way in. The bomb goes down, but it falls to NAF and Nitro. 2 versus 4 to try and keep Liquid in this. And that's the start they need. Nitro lines up 2, and it's NAF versus Fugly. NAF, of course, one of the newer members of this Liquid roster, of course, going over from Renegades. He has been fantastic for them. Has to win this out now to keep Liquid in this and take us through to a third overtime. Fugly taps that bomb, tries to bait the peek out from Naf, but Naf doesn't take the bait, actually sprays through. Fugly gonna win it out, and that's it. NRG, they managed to win out this series 22-20. It took us 2 overtimes, but finally NRG, they managed to get the job done.
Yeah, and a very unlikely victory, you'd have to say, from the side of NRG there, considering how things started. Down 7-15. Brought it back all the way to double OT and eventually close it out. But, you know, there has to be, something has to be said for the, I guess, the staying power of that team. And that's normally not something you see from a rather unexperienced group of players compared to their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason this was the hot match of the week. They showed it there. This was fantastic. 2 overtimes. It's the only time I haven't been too salty about it going to that either. You know, if we want the honest truth. NRG, they managed to get it done, but there's still a second map. We'll be back with that and the analysts after a break.